The last round of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented the last chance of the year to stop Caleb Russell from repeating as champion. Try as the likes of Jordan Ashburn might, Russell was able to break through the number one and claim another number one. But a whole new challenge awaits today. Welcome to Racer TV on NBCSN. Next to last round of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. The venerable Powerline Park here in Ohio has been hosting Grand National Cross Country events since 2001. Caleb Russell is the story today. He has the number one plate, but he is going to now run a 150cc two-stroke machine today, parking his regular 350. It should be a fun challenge to see how well he can do on the little bike. And at the end of our next round, which is the series finale, he will raffle that bike off to help Rory Mead, who is an injured rider. The funds will go to Rory and his recovery fund. So there you hear the two-stroke. Also, Charlie Mullins back from injury today. He was in title contention till a pair of wrist injuries took him out. And Josh Strang still looking for that elusive first win. He's now second in the series standings. Jordan Ashburn coming on strong, led a lot of laps at our last event. You've got to think with Russell on the two-stroke that everyone believes today is the day they can get that first win of the year. And we're off and racing. Russell gets a good jump. You see the white background number one, but he doesn't have the horsepower. Still a pretty good start considering. Paul Whibley, no surprise, has the whole shot, but Russell underneath immediately into the lead on the 150. This is a better start than we normally see Russell get on his four-stroke. Certainly must have been focusing on that. Now the two-stroke on the dead engine start will light quickly. You just tap that Kickstarter and the thing lights. Four-stroke's usually a little bit quicker to get going, but he had the horsepower in those first few straightaways to get into the lead and hold off this field, and they're going to have to hustle. Apparently, this bike and rider combination is going to work, and in fact, he's already pulling away. Big mud hole and a lot of mud fleas, which is what we call the fans here. The GNCCs are down there to watch it. Pace is very fast early. Look out, boys. Do not want to jump and land in a tree. So Russell into the lead. Whibley on the Ampro FMF Yamaha is second. Man, does that sound good. Russell ripping and tearing it up on the two-stroke. Here comes Charlie Mullins. Welcome back to the series. Mullins trying to make a move on Whibley. Looks like Grant Baylor, Jordan Ashburn coming through next. Thad Duvall, Andrew DeLong, Chris Bach. Where is Josh Strang? He needed a good start today. And look, they're starting to roll back up on Russell. It's his teammates, Mullins and Baylor. Baylor on the 250 two-stroke. Now, even those bikes are considered borderline fast enough to win in this XC1 class. A 250 two-stroke. Russell on the 150. Finally, we see Strang on the number 4 Rocky Mountain ATV MC Yamaha at the back of the train. But at least he can see the riders in front of him, and that helps. Going to be a real test here. Mullins on the 450 four-stroke right behind his teammate Russell. And we're in the field section. They throw in a few technical areas out here to slow it down. We'll even have a rock garden right here. Look at Baylor. Baylor trying to make the move for second on his teammate. Wow, KTM has to be happy about this. 3 different bikes, 1, 2, 3. Mistake for Whibley. DeLong busts through. Same with Ashburn. Then it's Duvall, Bach, and Strang gets stuck with Takeshi Koikita on the number 12. Both get going. Strang looking down at the machine. Did he maybe bend a shift lever? Koikita has stalled it. That will open the door for a few other riders to close the gap. Chris Douglas on the 22 going by. That's Daniel Milner on the Yamaha out of Australia. a guest ride with that NFAB Ampro team. Things have really picked up. Russell, Mullins, and Baylor on the gas. Good to see Mullins back in shape here after a pair of broken wrists. Knocked him out of this championship fight. DeLong, Ashburn, Whibley, Duvall, and Bach. Nose to tail after that. And now Mullins into the lead. So the question mark of Mullins' body and the question mark of Russell's bike, and it's worked out about equal here early in this one. Mullins able to get the lead, Russell right behind him. Here comes Whibley and the rest of that pack. Oh! And they're telling Strang to stop. Apparently Strang started his bike early on the line, and he has been given a stop-and-go penalty. It's Barry Hawk there on the left. Running the countdown. Man, he's got a long comeback now. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL. By Rocky Mountain ATV MC. And by Can-Am. Great racing here. It's the ITP Tires Powerline Park Grand National Cross Country Race. The field has really closed up now. Andrew DeLong on the factory Husqvarna has caught the leading trio of KTM riders. Now a four-rider fight for the lead. Thad Duvall coming through next, followed by Chris Buck, pair of Honda riders. Then it's Paul Whibley and Josh Strang, who's already had a heck of a day. Lit the bike early off the line, then shut it down. So he actually got a bad start, but if you start the bike early, you're going to get penalized anyway. And he had to have a stop-and-go penalty trying to work his way back up to this pack. Credit to DeLong to bridge the gap up there. Same thing with Jordan Ashburn. Now 5 riders in this lead pack. Then it's a Honda duo, RideMPS.com back Duvall and the Rockstar Johnny Campbell Racing Honda of Bach. Then it's Strang around Whibley. Man, this course is nasty down there. Mullins trying to pull away just a bit from Russell, and Russell under attack, and that's easy on the straightaway. The 450 Yamaha of Ashburn just motors by him. So Russell is really going to have to capitalize in the ruts, in the mud, in the tight wooded sections, but I don't know if there are enough of those to get these guys back. And here's Strang still digging. And I'll tell you, this is the way Strang's season has gone. He has been fast a lot, but it seems like every day he's got the pace, something goes wrong, usually bad starts. And today a bad start and a penalty. He would love to be up front with these guys. Down to the mud hole we go. Jumping the mud hole is Mullins. Ashburn right there. Russell and Baylor. And then DeLong. It's a big muddy fire road here. We call this Gus's Mud Pit. Gus, the producer of the first year we had GNCC television way back in 2001. And those guys certainly got an eyeful coming down here and trying to cover this stuff. Huge crash for DeLong. I don't even know how that happened, and he is shaken up. I believe not injured, but probably just shocked as to what happened and how quickly it did. Ashburn shoved back to 4th, Baylor back around him, and Russell as well. Then there's the next group, Duvall, Bach, and Strang. And this is the way GNCC racing works. It's 3 hours, and you really have races within the race. And now Russell back into the lead. Had a nice stretch of woods there. He's able to take advantage of that, and I would say at best, though, the 150 is less of a disadvantage in the woods. I don't think it's an advantage, but it's not nearly as bad through the woods or this rock garden as it will be in the field, where it is just a straight drag race. And no matter what you do to the motor, 150cc is not going to beat 450. There's Mullins. I have to wonder with Mullins, though, coming back from a pair of broken wrists, what is the endurance factor? Training-wise, I'm sure Charlie has been on it, but months and months off of the motorcycle, where is his endurance for riding, and also will the wrists hold up? Wouldn't be surprised if they start to give out as the day goes on, and it looks like Stuart Baylor has gotten around him. So maybe we've seen the limit of what Mullins can do today coming back from such huge injuries. That would certainly be understandable. Strang has moved forward a bit, taking advantage of that big crash by DeLong, who is okay. Cleared the Honda boys as well of Bach and Duval. And Caleb Russell carrying on. It's old school right now with the two strokes. Russell and Baylor leading the way. It's the way it would have been in a GNCC about 7 or 8 years ago. Then Mullins and Ashburn. And Strang. Bach coming through next, and then Duval. See these ruts here? This is where the four-strokes traditionally struggle. They used to call them the plow. When you get down to that muddy stuff, they just want to go straight. They're not very nimble down in those muddy, technical, real sticky areas. So I'd say maybe 5 or 10% of this course, a 152-stroke might be the way to go. Russell's making it work, pulling ahead again. Had that little lead on lap 1. Now beginning to stretch it again. Stuart Baylor needs a good run like this. He's been beset by wrist injuries of his own the last 2 years, missed almost all of last season. And the 3-hour mark has really been the question for him the whole time. That wrist just gives out. Mullins has taken it back from Baylor. So it's a battle of the guys with bad wrists. Josh Strang continuing to move up through the ranks. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Let's give you the highlights of the four-wheel side of this ITP Tires Powerline Park GNCC. We run ATVs on Saturday, bikes on Sunday at these races. Good start for the 341 Brian Wolf, but getting around it, Brent Sturdivant. But soon the battle would pick up. Walker Fowler on a mission this year, trying to make up for lost points, battling with Chris Borich for the series title. Fowler has won 4 of the last 5 races, but Borich has the points lead. Fowler, the one race he didn't win in this stretch, had a broken chain at Snowshoe Mountain in West Virginia. Cost him a ton in the series standings, but he's not giving up. And for the first time in a long time, Borich, you see here in second, really being pressured. He's a 5-time and counting GNCC champ. This is the most serious run anyone has given him, and you're seeing it in the next to last round of the year. Borich hustling in second. They are yarding everyone else. When you have 2 guys that know the championship is going to be settled between the 2 of them, it really pushes them to another level. But try as Borich might, yet to come up with an answer for this kid. Great battle behind them. Bryson Neal, Kevin Yoho, Johnny Gallagher all in a fight. Fowler keeps looking over. Got people all over the track cheering him on, telling him what lines to use through the mud as he continues to maintain the gap over Borich. Now, Borich traditionally waits to the last lap to put in a charge, but I think even he knows now you're not going to pull those tricks on Fowler anymore. Just the kid too fast, too strong, too confident these days. See a battle for third breaking down to McGill versus Jay Shadron. McGill, a veteran, has won a bunch of these. Shadron, one of the youngsters. We also had Jared McClure in the mix, who's been very consistent this year. But up front, Fowler just more and more spectacular with each lap. More and more people cheering him on. Even taking high fives out there on the track. Well, that's one thing to do when you're in championship pressure. Trying to find a way to keep it fun. Whatever he's doing is working. Making 5 out of the last 6 overalls for Walker Fowler. And with that, he will be tied in points with Chris Borich going into a now winner-take-all finale at the Ironman. That'll be our next show right here on NBCSN. What a showdown it's going to be. Chris Borich, good run, second place. But for the first time in 5 years, he's under serious pressure. Adam McGill, always having fun with his camera around. Solid run for third. Borich got to figure something out here at the Ironman. Walker Fowler's going to be tough to beat, and a good solid run for Mr. McGill in the mud. There are your AMSOIL results. McClure, Shadrid in the top 5. Neil Yoho, Henthorne, Merritt, Sturdivant round out the top 10. We'll be back with the bike finale after this. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Caleb Russell continues to lead. Next to last round of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series. Now, Russell has already wrapped up the title in this series for the second straight year, so he's taken on a big challenge, racing a 152 stroke against a primarily 454 stroke mounted competition. And the competition late is going to come from Josh Strang. Strang had a bad start, was then penalized early in this race, has worked his way all the way back to second. Now, Strang has not won a GNCC since 2011, and he's the 2010 champ. He's been fighting and fighting it back to his old level. He has to be on fire right now, seeing the opportunity to maybe get a win, but he's got to get around Russell, who's doing a great job keeping that little bike as wide as possible, and he actually runs into Strang. Well, boy, a little aggression there. Clearly, it's not just a fun challenge. Russell wants to win this race, and he's serious about it. Strang going to have to reset the attack. So Russell showing he's willing to do whatever it takes to maintain the lead. And in those big, fast sections, that might be what it takes. Going to have to be aggressive because he knows Strang can motor right by him in the long stretches. And they're picking their way through some lap traffic. These guys are really good friends off the track. They ride together quite a bit in North Carolina, where they both make their home. So I'm surprised to see that kind of action from Russell. But he wants to win. Ashburn next. Then it's Mullins and Bach. It has been a survival race back here. Andrew DeLong, a big crash. He's out of it. Thad Duval is out of this race as well. Down the straightaway, this is where Strang can do some serious damage, and they are pulling Russell in for fuel. And a gesture from Strang, I think he's wondering what's up. With some of that rough riding, we're told that behind this pit area, Russell got into him again. And you hear the live track announcers talking about it. There was some contact made, and now Russell is looking down at the motorcycle. Something is wrong with the bike. They're going to work on the rear brake pedal area. So now Josh Strang is all the way into the lead. What a journey it has been. Whoa! And a lap rider almost takes him out. Russell going to have to mount a furious charge. I don't know if he's going to have time to make up ground. But hey, if you bend your rear brake pedal running into the dude, it's a double-edged sword. That's the way it goes. Ashburn going to make a run for second. He's got some ground to make up still. Mullins, good comeback to the series in fourth. But how about Josh Strang? After he won the title in 2010, led the points for a lot of 2011. Had some bad luck down the stretch. Charlie Mullins took the title, then he broke his leg at the last round of the year. It took almost a year to get his speed back from that rough injury. Meanwhile, a factory Suzuki team that he rode for closed up shop, had to put his own deal together, and has been working his way back with his own effort, trying to get the health, the speed, and all those things back in line. And now it looks like he might finally get it. And as I said at the top of the show, Strang has been fast all year on this Rocky Mountain ATV MC back Yamaha. The problem has been just a mistake, wrong place, wrong time, bad starts. We haven't seen the full package for 3 hours, and even today it wasn't perfect. Terrible first lap the way things went. Lit the engine up early on the start, had to incur a penalty, but he has ridden very well down the stretch, and I know, he had to beat a guy at a 150 to do it. But any of these racers will take confidence any way they can get it, and a win is a win. And it appears that the 3-year wait for Josh Strang is about to come to an end. The very determined and very likable young man from Australia is about to come all the way back to the top and win here at Powerline Park. first non-KTM winner of the year. The Yamaha crew has to be happy about that. Caleb Russell, a spectacular ride on the 152-stroke, will come out second. And you have to wonder, the pit strategy pulling into for fuel, had to give up the battle with Strang and the rear brake pedal problems. We'll see what happens to the next one. Jordan Ashburn, a good run. He's had a real solid season. That's 2 Yamahas on the podium here as you look at the AMSOIL results. Mullins and Baylor 4th and 5th. Milner 7th in his GNCC debut. Whibley, Kokita, and DeLong top 10. Grant Baylor wins XC2, and that will give him the championship for the 2nd year in a row. And he will move up to row 1 and race the XC1 riders at our next event. We'll see how the young man can do taking on the top guns. AMSOIL race recap. Paul Whibley, no surprise, the Am Pro and Fab Yamahas always nail the starts. He picks up some money from All Balls Racing, but soon Caleb Russell on the mini machine into the lead, chased down by his teammates, while Josh Strang had to be penalized at the end of lap 1 for jumping the start. But Strang would fight his way all the way back to catch Russell. Spectacular battle for the lead. Russell would later say that was an accident. He slid sideways in that corner into Strang and gave props to his man for taking the victory from him. Meanwhile, Grant Baylor's your new XC2 champ. Great day of racing. Thanks for joining us.